It can be kind of daunting choosing your first lens as a new photographer. You've already done so much work with your kit lens, but now you feel as though it's the right time to move on to something new. But with so many different options out there and not knowing which one would be the right one for you in your type of photography, you want to make sure you don't end the day with buyer's remorse. Well, in this video, I want to show you the different types of lenses that I use in my day-to-day for photography, and the different tips and tricks that you can use to ensure that you choose the right lens. Let's get into it. Hey guys, welcome back to another video. My name is Brian, I'm a Los Angeles photographer, and in this video I want to talk about the different steps that you can take when choosing your first lens without having to deal with any sort of buyer's remorse at the end. I also want to show you the different lenses that I used, and hopefully that would give you a better idea as to what lens that you might want to go for based off the different ways that I use them personally. I'll also be talking about the different things that you should do while you're out there choosing your next lens before buying it, so that way there's no buyer's remorse at the end of the day. So if you find any of these tips helpful, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more upcoming videos. So without further ado, let's get into it. So to start off, I want to go over the different types of lenses that I currently have and how I use each one out in the field. Hopefully this helps give you a better idea if that type of lens is right for you and your photography. So the current lenses that I use include a Sony Sonar 55mm f1.8, a Sony 28mm to 70mm f3.5 to 5.6, a Sony 20mm G f1.8, and a Sony 24mm to 105mm G f4. So to start off, let's talk about the 55mm. So this is my favorite lens to use for any type of photography: portraits, landscapes, astrophotography, you name it. Almost all photographers will agree that every photographer should have a nifty 50 prime lens in their bag, mainly for their flexibility to be used in a variety of different situations and their ability to open wide to let a lot of light in. I always keep this lens with me wherever I go, and if I had to choose only one lens to keep for the rest of my life, I would honestly choose this one. It's that good. So moving on to the 28 to 70mm, this was the standard kit lens that came with my Sony a7. So much like with any kit lens, it's a great starting point for new photographers to allow them to get used to using different focal lengths and learn the basics of photography without having to go out and buy something else. While it doesn't produce the sharpest images or has the largest aperture like some of the other lenses I have, it's the one that's traveled with me the most and the one that I learned most of my photography skills off of, so it holds a special little place in my heart. Next, we have the 20mm lens. Since I love landscape photography, I wanted to invest in a wide-angle lens that would allow me to capture the entire scene in one photo, and with its wide focal length, it helps make the subjects in my foreground feel closer while making the subjects in the background seem more far away. I also use this lens for astrophotography since it has a very wide aperture like my 55mm lens, which allows to bring in a lot more light into it during those nighttime situations. And of course, my most favorite feature when it comes to this lens is the sound it makes whenever you're adjusting the aperture. Just listen. It's nerdy, but it's honestly so satisfying to listen to. Finally, we have the 24 to 105mm. So this is the most recent lens that I purchased, almost a year ago actually, and I decided to upgrade from my beloved kit lens to this lens mainly because of its improved focal range and the ability to keep the aperture wide open even when I'm fully zoomed in. It was also the most budget-friendly out of the other Sony lenses I was looking at, so that was a major thing that I considered when I was buying it. It takes some pretty sharp photos and is my overall go-to lens whenever I'm doing any sort of things like travel photography, client photography, you name it. So hopefully that little show and tell gave you a better idea as to what kind of lens you would want to go for as your next lens. But if not, there's 4 questions that you should ask yourself that will help make the decision process a lot easier for you. 1. What kind of photos do I want to take? So while there isn't really a right or wrong type of lens to use for different types of photography, there's some that definitely do a lot better at certain situations than others. So for example, if you were a landscape photographer and you wanted to get that whole wide view of the landscape in front of you within one shot, you would probably go for a wide-angle lens. However, if you wanted to take portraits of friends and family, you would want to go with a telephoto lens that would help get those flattering facial features from using that lens. So another thing you could potentially do is look through some of the past photos that you've taken and see if there's any sort of pattern of you using the same focal length. And then ask yourself, did you enjoy taking those photos at that focal length, or is there some other ones that you maybe enjoy more at a different focal length? Based off looking at through those photos and kind of coming up with your own conclusion, that might help you at the right path towards finding your next lens. 2. Do I want a prime or zoom lens? Though you can't go wrong with either a prime lens or a zoom lens, there are some differences between the two that you should consider. Zoom lenses give you the flexibility to quickly change your focal length with a twisted lens without you needing to move further in or farther back from your subject. However, zoom lenses don't always provide the same high quality detail that prime lenses are known for, which is where prime lenses shine. Yet while prime lenses do offer greater photo quality, they are locked into one focal length, meaning that you'll have to physically move forwards or backwards to fit your subject in your frame as you see fit. So keep those differences in mind when choosing between the two. 3. What's my budget? So another question to ask yourself is, what's my budget? How much do I want to spend on a new lens? Do I want something a little more budget friendly, or do I have some extra cash burn for a more higher quality lens? With different lenses comes different prices, so you definitely want to consider this when you're out there searching for lenses. So the price of a lens can range from a number of things, such as the focal length, the maximum aperture, which is how wide the lens can open up to let light in, the photo quality produced by the lens, and the overall build quality. So what you can also do is see if you can buy the lens that you're interested in getting as used. So places like B&H, Adorama, Sammy's Camera, these are all great places to look at for used lenses, since they have such great prices and they offer a return period and a limited warranty just in case if there's something wrong with the lens once you get it. And if there's one thing that I want you to take away from this section, it's that expensive gear does not equal better photos. Yes, higher quality gear can lead to higher quality photos, but it's the skills and the expertise of the photographer themselves that help lead to a more great photo overall. And 4, is it possible to try this lens out before buying it? So one of the things that I like to do whenever I'm thinking about buying a new lens is to see if my local camera shop has it in stock. If they do, I want to go there and try it out first before I actually buy it, so that way I can see if it's actually the right fit for me. You can also talk with the store associates to see if they recommend any other lenses that are close to the one that you're looking at, which could potentially lead to a better deal. What you can also do is rent the lens out for a certain period of time and test it out in the field if you just don't want to test it out in the store alone. I'd recommend asking your local photography store to see if they allow you to rent their lenses for a certain time. Otherwise, check online and see if there's any great services out there that you can rent lenses from. So hopefully this video made the entire idea of buying your next lens a little less scary and gives you the confidence to go out there and make the right decision. If so, leave a like, comment, and subscribe for more upcoming videos. Until next time, have a good one.